Production funding for The Cities is provided by a grant from the Doris and Victor Day Foundation.
A history-making change of command on Arsenal Island and paving the way for children to find careers that'll change their lives in the cities. Every now and again, it is worth reminding ourselves just how big a deal the Rock Island Arsenal is these days. The Joint Munitions Command, based at the Arsenal, is responsible for munitions building and storage for the nation. It has more than 11,000 workers and a $4 billion annual budget. In other words, it's a very big deal indeed. And last month, just 2 days before the 4th of July, the command changed in a history-making ceremony. The JMC is, for the first time, being led by a woman. And joining us tonight is Brigadier General Kristen French, commander of the Joint Munitions Command at Arsenal Island. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me tonight.
How annoying is that statement, that you're the first woman that is in a command position at JMT at Arsenal Island? It's 2013. Let's move on, I would think.
I tend to agree that, of course, I am the first commander that is a female of this organization. We've had 4 previous commanders, and they've all done a fabulous job. And what I look at is I'm just carrying on from what they've done over the last years. Actually, Joint Munitions Command has quite a few women in leadership positions. In fact, 9 of my directors are women. So I think we're quite a diverse organization, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, that's why I kind of wanted to start in that area, because the novelty of being a woman in the military is becoming far less of a novelty than ever before. And you have to be proud of the women who came before you.
Absolutely. About 15% of the military forces right now are women, and I think it is growing on a somewhat regular basis as we look at opportunities for women to join other fields and do other specialties in the military. But it's happened for a long time. We've had women in the Women's Army Corps. In the 50s, in the 60s, and 70s, we transitioned, and now we're part of the force, and we're one force.
And it's really unquestionable right now. I mean, the respect is there. I mean, let's be honest, the people that serve under you don't see you as a man or a woman, but they certainly see you as a brigadier general.
Well, like I said earlier, we have a lot of women leaders in Joint Munitions Command, so they're used to having women responsible for giving them tasks and orders, and so they look at me as being their boss, and that's about it. You're right.
Welcome to Arsenal Island and the Quad Cities. I'd have to ask you, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you your first impressions. You've been here, you said you've been here before, but very much since the 4th of July.
Right. I was assigned to my higher command, Army Materiel Command, in the 2006 to 2008 timeframe, and I came up here to Rock Island since I had meetings with Army Sustainment Command, both in the winter and in the summer, so I got to experience all of the weather changes up here. But I never really got to visit Quad Cities. I mostly spent the time on the Arsenal in meetings and in conferences, so this is really a chance for me to get out and see the area. I got here about a month ago, and I've really enjoyed it already. I've actually been able to attend 2 of the River Bandit baseball games. I'm a big baseball fan.
Oh, good.
I got to stop by the Jazz Festival this last weekend, and I just really am enjoying my time in Quad Cities.
There has been a very large push by the community, Chamber of Commerce, legislative leaders, because of the real fear of what happened during the last BRAC, when there was discussion of even closing Arsenal Island. There seems to be this renewed belief that we have got to make sure this Arsenal stays in the Quad Cities. Do you get that sense already of the community backing what is going on the island?
The community is backing all of the service members and the civilians, Department of the Army civilians that work on the Arsenal. And I would tell you that we plan to be here for a long time. Joint Munitions Command is responsible for 14 arsenals, plants, and depots around the United States. And it's amazing that we command that organization here at Rock Island, but it's a partnership we've had in the area for a long time, and I don't see it going away.
Well, obviously, I have to ask you about the furloughs as well, because that's uppermost on so many of the civilian workers on the Arsenal right now. It seems to be an area that is in flux. Congress, the Defense Department don't seem to have an exact black and white idea of what's going to happen because of the sequestration.
Well, around the early part of the year of 2013, decisions were made that we would furlough Department of the Army civilians for 11 days, which causes us to have 88 hours of time that they're not at work. And what my higher headquarters determined is it's going to be starting July 12th on Fridays. So we call it Furlough Friday. So we've had 3 Furlough Fridays right now. We have 8 to go until the 1st of October timeframe. And we are just continuing to do our work and support our higher command. What happens with a lot of chatter out there, that's just what it is right now. We don't have any kind of definitive answers from our higher headquarters to let us know that we're not going to have the 11 days of furlough. So our civilians and our people around the country that are furloughed on Fridays are having to balance that 20% pay cut and that 20% less of productive work. But they are doing it, and they're supporting us and supporting the headquarters and supporting the mission. And so we'll continue to work it and see how things happen over time as decisions are made way above me.
Well, and the decisions are still being made. We have no idea what 2014 will bring, do we?
Not yet. We are just getting through the current fiscal year, which will be the end of September. And we're hearing a lot of making plans, hearing a lot of ideas of what might happen. But right now, we're just planning and continuing to go forth as we have over the last few years.
I know you're so proud of not only the military that is on the base, but as you said, the civilians as well. But I would be worried about the furlough, and I'm sure you are, of course, the furlough and its impact on morale. Have you seen any problem there, or do you see that people are going, yeah, we're going to have to suffer through this, but let's be honest, there's other people in the military suffering far worse than we are?
There is some frustrations out amongst the workforce. Our first paycheck came out last week, and so some of the people got to really see what it meant when 20% of your pay is taken out of your salary. But they knew it was coming, and they prepared for it, and they're making do with what they can with what's the situation currently dictates. But it is hard, and we constantly have to talk to the workforce, talk to people, and make sure everyone understands that these decisions were made, and we are going to follow through and continue to support Department of Defense.
So many different ways you have to deal with the current, but you are dealing with the future as well. And Brigadier General O'Connell had mapped 5 enduring points, including survivability, when he was talking about Arsenal Island. What do you think he meant by survivability? Well,
survivability in our business means staying safe, dealing with munitions. And we are doing very well. In fact, we have a 10% decrease in incidents over the last several months than we had last year. And we've also had 20% less of workforce lost hours because of safety incidents. So we are pushing it hard. He used it as one of his 5 priorities. It's definitely one of mine, safety in everything we do. And as you go out and visit some of our production sites, you see how dangerous this business is as we make munitions to support the warfighter. But we're doing a great job, and that's important to me as it is to all of the JMC community.
You must get this sense on the island, whether it's joint munitions or the other areas that are so productive on Arsenal Island, that there's this great pride. I don't know if it's a Midwest work ethic or there's a pride among the Quad City civilian force in particular that they are helping the military. I always get this sense that they really feel it's very special to be working on Arsenal Island. You, on the other hand, have worked at a number of different bases. Do you see anything unique about what you see in the Quad Cities? And I know that you've only been here a short period of time, but do you get this first impression that there is something unique about this area?
I think part of it is the part of the country we're in. The middle part of the United States is very patriotic. I mean, we are all across the country, but I see that people are always thanking me for my service and understanding that we are here because of the military and keeping Americans safe, both here and abroad. And I really do believe the Quad Cities environment. They open their arms up to the military. And for the civilians, they're part of the Quad Cities area. They live here. Some of them were born here, and they're very proud of their service, and they're very patriotic Americans. So it's just a partnership. It's like a brotherhood and sisterhood of people who are taking care of each other.
And when you say
really
it's
nice.
a partnership, it's also there's an awful lot of teamwork that seems to go on, particularly on the island. I mean, do you sense that as well?
We have a lot of headquarters elements on the island, and we could not do it without teaming together. And so as new commanders come and go, the organization sustains because of the civilians and because of the teamwork. And we definitely have great teamwork between the 1st Army headquarters, Army Sustainment Command, Joint Munitions Command, the JMTC, which is the Manufacturing Technology Center. The different organizations all work together, and we're growing other organizations. We have other smaller agencies there, the engineers and the Garrison Command and other organizations to make it a big team.
The command that you now lead, are you surprised at how vast it is? I mean, we were talking about the $4 billion. We're talking about depots and facilities in, what, 8 or 12 states? I think it's 8
Yes.
states. I mean, just the vastness of what you are in charge of. It gives you pause, I would think.
Well, the first thing is none of them are in great locations to get to.
That's
it's
very
difficult.
true.
Because of the munitions business, we're not right next to a big population.
That might not be wise to do, right?
So when I go visit some of the sites, it's never easy to get there. It takes a long time. But again, the workforce at those different installations and the leaders at those installations are just doing great work supporting the warfighter. And it is amazing how vast we cover many parts of the United States, all the way from the Northeast all the way to the West Coast. And we have, like I said, great facilities, great locations, just tough to get to by plane.
Sure.
You end up taking a plane and then driving. And then also we have just great people working there. So it is a great command. And it's amazing because we have, as you mentioned, we have 11,000 Americans working all across the United States and across different parts of the world supporting with munitions.
When the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan had first started, one of the big problems that they found out were the IEDs and the problems that was occurring with some of the Humvees and military vehicles. And Arsenal Island workers really kind of stepped up to find some of the armor plating to make people, soldiers, more protected out in the war zones. It seems to be that adaptability that the military really needs to thrive on, and is that what you're kind of seeing as well, as that we have learned so much over the last 10 years on how to better protect the men and women that serve us?
We're very adaptable because if we weren't, we would never succeed in our operation. So right now where we are in the military is adapting from the focus on Iraq and Afghanistan to prepare ourselves for the next stage in the military's timeline. And so we're, as you know, going to be mostly departing Afghanistan in the 2014 area and timeline, and Joint Munitions Command will be looking at what happens next for us. And I think it's that way across all the Army. We'll have to look at what's next, and part of it is to train and to prepare for whatever comes down the road for us. And for the ammunition community, we're going to need ammo to train, so we know that our mission will continue.
Now, you have served in Afghanistan and in Iraq, I believe,
Yes.
as well. As a matter of fact, in Afghanistan, I believe the ceremony, your promotion ceremony to Brigadier General was at Kandahar with a closed circuit feed so family members in the U.S. could watch. Such a proud moment in your life, but it had to be somewhat surreal to have this, long distance ceremony going on.
It's almost a once-in-a-lifetime experience, though, to be able to say you were promoted in Afghanistan. And yes, it's great that we are in 2013 and able to do the video teleconferencing, unlike the other wars of past when we didn't have that opportunity. But serving in Afghanistan was a tough assignment, but also a very proud time for me to be able to support the men and women that were serving overseas in that country. And it really is something I'll always have as a great memory for me is the logistics service we did in Afghanistan. And as you know, the logisticians are leading the charge right now as we get ready to pull all the equipment and the supplies out of Afghanistan along with the personnel.
I mean, because the level of pride just seems consistent from beginning to end as far as the commands that you've led.
Absolutely. I've been blessed to be in great organizations, and again, Joint Munitions Command, just like my last assignment, have just a great history and have done some wonderful things to support the warfighter and will continue to in the future.
You also served at Fort Knox. Did you get any gold? Were you able to bring back any gold? Did you get a gold bar? Did you get anything cool like that?
The gold depository is right outside the front gate, and you're not allowed to stop near it, take pictures of it, or visit it. So most of us have not seen anything other than the postcard version of the gold depository. No, unfortunately, I didn't get to get any gold out of it.
That was one of the top questions I had to ask. I wanted to know an answer to that. As we're wrapping up, I mean, let's talk a little bit about your personal goals. You've just started, but what do you see as your future here in the Quad Cities?
I think the first thing is really to lead JMC into the future. We, like I said, are transitioning from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I want to make sure that this command is postured for any future missions. I think another thing for me, a personal goal, would to balance my work, my family, and myself. Sometimes I spend a little more time with one than the other, so we'll see what I can do to balance them. And I think probably the third area for me, a personal goal, is to survive my first official Quad City winter.
You know what? They get easier, I'm told. And last year wasn't so bad, so maybe...
I was told the last two have been pretty mild, which means, knowing my luck,
yeah, the other
this one is going to be brutal.
Welcome to the Quad Cities.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Brigadier General Kristen French.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you. School is already in session right now in some districts. That's a sign that summer is quickly coming to an end and that winter is right around the corner. But Laura Adams has a bunch of great ideas you might like to consider if you plan to go out and about.
Two of our area's biggest events are coming up when you go out and about. Hi, I'm Laura Adams. The annual Great River Tug Fest between LeClaire, Iowa and Port Byron, Illinois takes place August 8th through the 10th with a spectacular fireworks display on Friday. A celebration of Caribbean culture, Yamaica My Weekend in downtown Rock Island brings the islands to the Quad Cities. Plus, you still have time to see replicas of Columbus's ships, the Nina and Pinta, at the Oneida Landing in Davenport. The New Windsor Fair Rodeo and Horse Show is the place to be to enjoy rides, exhibits, food, and the excitement of the rodeo and horse show. Or spend your morning paddling from one of the 5 launch sites to Lake Potter and Sunset Park in Rock Island, Illinois, in the truly unique event known as Floatzilla. In Memoriam, Mildred Fish Harnack is a new exhibit at the German-American Heritage Center, honoring the only American woman executed under direct order from Adolf Hitler for her role in the Berlin resistance movement. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers invites you to the 24th Annual Campers Outdoor Craft Show on August 17th. And on stage, Quad City Music Guild presents the musical 9 to 5, running through August 18th at the theater's Prospect Park location in Moline. Closing this weekend, 12 Angry Men, the father of all courtroom dramas at the District Theater in downtown Rock Island. For more information, log on to WQPT.org.
Thank you, Laura. We hope you're enjoying our special evening programming here on WQPT. This week is our special membership drive, where you can be a member for as little as $35 a year. But we also hope you'll consider a $50 donation. It makes you eligible for our membership card, available for all kinds of discounts at restaurants, entertainment venues, and sports events. Go to WQPT.org for details. And next month, another big fundraiser for fans of WQPT. It's time for Brouhaha. Brouhaha, a party for your taste buds, coming up Saturday, September 21st at Davenport's LeClaire Park. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's a question that's becoming harder for some kids to answer. And let's be honest, so many children don't necessarily have those eye-opening opportunities available to them. For years, Junior Achievement has tried to change all that, opening a world of opportunities that can change the world in the eyes of young kids. And now, JA has a new initiative linking kids with businesses. It's called Career Cruising Quad Cities. And joining us tonight is the director of Career Cruising Quad Cities, Kirk Marske. And it's not only JA that's been a part of a partnership of a bunch of different agencies in the Quad Cities.
Yeah, it's a partnership with Junior Achievement of the Heartland and also the Moline Foundation.
And what is the goal here? I mean, how young do these kids have to be, and what type of immersion are the kids getting in the world of work?
Well, the students that we serve are in middle school and high school, so 6th through 12th grade. And the idea is that they can explore careers online, but also in the workplace. So there's a combination of information that's just online, and then we get local businesses and professionals involved in our program to provide information, and actually activities and opportunities where they can interact with local people who work in those careers that the students might be interested in.
I can only assume that there had to be, at least in the business community and perhaps in the education community as well, this feeling that there was a great need, there was a great void for the kids.
Yeah, long before I was ever involved in Career Cruising Quad Cities, there were some conversations with employers in the Quad Cities that what one of the obstacles is in any region is people who grow up in that area leaving to go work somewhere else. And there were conversations about how do we keep people who grow up here in the Quad Cities here with their skills and talents. And so Career Cruising Quad Cities was introduced as a way to help students, people who are in school right now, learn that there's opportunities here in the Quad Cities and get them on a path to those careers that interest them, and then help retain them here in the Quad Cities, the workforce.
How do you like this program? I mean, what is it that makes this program work for you? I mean, how do you feel like you're really succeeding?
Well, I think it helps kids make a connection outside of just the computer or just the classroom. And the assessments that they can do online is a good starting point for their career exploration. And then from there, they can identify careers that they're interested in and then pursue those. You know, some careers might not be the right match for them. It's good that they find that out when they're in 10th grade than when they're in college.
Yeah, so. Absolutely, and we're finding that so much that kids are going to college, and you know, I used to be able to muddle around for the first 2 years. You can't do that anymore because of the expense.
That's exactly right.
This is in some ways a big money-saving opportunity for kids, but it also, you're seeking sustained work readiness. How do you mean that?
Well, what we mean by that is businesses that sign up for our program, our goal is not to get somebody in the door of their workplace tomorrow. We're not a work placement, an employment
It's
service.
not necessarily a VOTEC service.
Right. The idea is that if you're an employer in the Quad Cities or a professional who wants to help students develop their work skills, that you can identify ways to get them on that path. So let's say you are a physical therapy clinic, and you want to get good physical therapy assistants and therapists in your workplace. You can start now by connecting with students who are in school who might be interested in those careers, and say to them, these are the programs that are available. These are good ways to get to where we are. This is how much money you can earn, and help get them on that path. And then a student who's maybe a freshman in high school who's interested in those careers, they can start taking the classes that they need to and make that connection between school and work.
Businesses have to realize that this is more of a long-term goal than anything else,
Yeah.
something that might be 3, 4, 5 years down the line that helps them with the workers of tomorrow.
And it depends on the career. If it's something where it's a healthcare career where you need an associate's degree or a one-year degree or a welder, even better, because they can, it's a shorter timeline maybe for some of those careers. So the amount of time it takes to connect with a high school student and then get them into your workplace is a little bit shorter. But we represent all careers, all industries. So the idea, I think, is to get the students to have an eye-opening experience, like you said earlier, to where they know what all the options are. Not all kids want to go to college or are cut out for college. And then other ones, maybe they just don't know what other opportunities there are. So it's just a way for them to learn more about their opportunities and get on that pathway.
We were talking about the partnership that you have going on, but there's also a larger partnership perhaps between volunteers, educators, parents, and businesses.
Right.
How is that going? I mean, you need all four, actually, in order for this to succeed.
Yeah, that's right. What I do as director for the program is I primarily build the business representation in the system. So I'm the one who goes and tries to get career coaches involved. Those are people who answer questions online. Also providers of the work-based learning activities, and those are things like job shadows, company tours, people who come out to the classroom and speak. And then we have company profiles in the system as well. So that's a large part of what we do. Like, for example, we have 200 company profiles in the system right now. We have about 115 career coaches. And those are the people that make our program run from the business side, make it available to the students. And then the schools that we serve, you know, they're doing a great job having the students use the program. And then the parents can also get involved. Students can save the information that they're learning into a portfolio. We call it My Plan. And then parents can register to access that information, so kids can get guidance at home as well.
So when you're talking about these career coaches from the business world,
right.
If somebody's watching right now, how would they get involved?
They can go to careercruisingquadcities.org, and there's a registration form on there. Any of the ways that I mentioned that people can participate, they can register through the website. My phone number and email address are on there too, so anybody can contact me if they have questions or if they want more information.
And I'm assuming it's the same for parents and children. I mean, if they're not going to a traditional school, is it still available to them?
There's ways that we can help them out, so they can contact me. I try to make the website so that there's information for students, educators, parents, and employers or professionals. So anybody who sees this or hears our messages, they can go to our website, careercruisingquadcities.org, and get that information. So if the student is not at a school that uses our program, they can contact me and I can answer some questions for them, how they might be able to get involved.
And what progress have you seen so far? I mean, you must have seen some great stories of kids that have been, it just sparked something.
Oh yeah, the questions that the students ask are great, and the reaction that they get from the volunteers, the answers that they get, it's just amazing to see those connections online between the questions and the answers and what they learn from it. So it's been a great experience. I'm happy to be in the middle of it all. So.
Kirk Marske from Career Cruising Quad Cities, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck, and once again, it's one of those resources that the Quad Cities has that you can take part in. Once again, thank you for your continuing support of local programming here at WQPT. You've heard it time and again, we simply cannot do it without you. So please consider becoming a member of your local PBS station. And this week, when you become a member, you could get a bonus gift. Check out all the details at our website, WQPT.org. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device, thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
The lies of desperate eyes, a man is never done. Our hearts are born with open arms, and follow it's yours too.
Production funding for The Cities is provided by a grant from the Doris and Victor Day Foundation.